Duke, how much with LC are you kind of tracking him coming back, and how much does that affect your aggressiveness that you can do at tackle with that injury?
Well, anytime somebody's coming off of an injury, you want to get them as far along as possible before you have to make any decisions and see if they're going to be able to fit the bill next year. And you know, LC's going to work super hard at it. He's already doing that. You know, he's made of the right stuff. Time will tell. And I can't sit here and tell you what time will tell.
Yeah.
I just know that time will eventually tell.
Do you have to think more about contingencies because of that? I mean, you have to kind of have a stronger insurance
I think
plan.
you're always looking for insurance plans, particularly when you're talking about the offensive line.
Yep.
And so you want to have guys developing in the background, and you want to have options to move to if you need to.
On the other side, how do you feel like Jonah played? And what do you view as his, fifth year with you guys?
Yeah, we picked up the option. He's going to be with us. We think he's a very good offensive lineman, very good left tackle. Again, when you play tackle in this league, you're never going to be perfect. Nobody is going to be perfect. People are going to get beat. You're playing Myles Garrett. You're playing guys that are rare, and they're going to win some. But Jonah's a very good player. We're happy to have him, and we think he played pretty well this year.
There wouldn't be any thought of moving him, would there? Just he's a left tackle, and that's it.
Yeah, those would be questions for Zach and Frank. Those wouldn't be questions for me. But he's played left tackle for us, and we've been able to win with him doing that.
Yep.
So.
How do you think Jackson Common played down the stretch there? And, did he?
Yeah, I thought Jackson came in and played well in big critical games, and that's important. That's what we want. If you're not going to be a starter, you have to prepare like a starter, and you got to be able to go in and play well. And I thought Jackson did that. I thought Jackson showed that his development is continuing, and that he's got a future in our league. And I was pleased to see him go in there and give us a chance.
Do you think he can be a starter? Do you think he can be a starter eventually?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it depends on who else is with us. It depends on the group, and depends on his continued development. And those will be things that Zach and Frank and Brian Callahan have to work through.
You mentioned that it'll be dependent on other teams, but with Jesse Bates, do you feel like you guys have enough room to try to make that happen, or is that something?
We'll see. We'll see. It'll depend. I mean, it won't be probably something that happens right away, but we'll see. I don't know where the market will go for Jesse. We value him a lot. He's been a really good player for us, and a really good leader for us, and we'd love to have him back, but we'll see where the chips fall on that.
Is it important to sign at least one of the two between him and Vaughn, or do you have contingencies behind that? I mean, Dax is obviously in the mix.
To me, it's important to get every good player back that contributed to our success. Is it realistic? Probably not. But is it important? Yes. And we're not going to freeze out options with any of them. It'll be dependent, on other deals that we are able to get done as the off season goes on, and maybe what the market is for those guys. And can everybody fit in at the top value that they want? No. Maybe some guys don't get that value and want to come back, and we'll see. I just can't predict it right now.
Duke, what makes Tee untradeable?
Untradeable. He's a good player for us, and I just in my mind, why would I want to give up a good player for us? He's a valuable component of what we do. We drafted him for a reason. We've developed him for a reason. He plays for a reason. He's under contract to us. He gives us the best chance to be a successful football team. And like I said, earlier, I'm not in the business of trying to figure out how to make other teams better. I'm in the business of trying to keep our team at the top.
I think the big question with Tee, though, is that you have the Burrow extension coming up. Jamar's going to be extension eligible next year, and Tee as well. Given the receiver market, it's hard, given what those contracts are, to fit all of those usually under the cap.
Maybe not, but they're under contract right now, and you might have thought that far ahead and wanna start breaking down our team, but I don't think that way. I really don't. Tee's a big part of what we do. He gels great with our quarterback. He's a great piece of what we've developed on offense, and we're not looking to start over right now.
How How have you looked at all what the challenge would be like of keeping 2 top receivers at that price point?
We look at a lot of different things. We also look at the fact that what he does for us as a football team, and he's under contract next year, and we'll talk to him perhaps as the off season goes on and see if there's something we can come to an agreement on or not. He's eligible for that. It's not a necessity, but it's something that can be done, and we'll see. It sounds like you thought a lot more about this than I have. I don't overthink it. He's a good player for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I intend to keep him that way.
What was that?
Following up on what I was asking you about Mixon earlier, do you, with the way that the NFL has kind of changed now with maybe some running backs for other teams being taken in later rounds, you get them on the cheaper deal. When you have a running back that's over 26 years old, you know what they say about that being kind of the shelf life for a running back. What would be your guys' justification for holding on to Mixon with how much his contract is?
Well, Joe's been a good player for us, and he's been a pretty key component for what we're doing. And I can't predict what the offseason, will do. I can't predict, what other deals will get done, how much money we'll need. There might be a chance to renegotiate some people on our team. There might be a chance to extend some people on our team. Again, there's a lot of moving pieces to this. I think the blanket statement I can make is when you have a good player who is productive, you do what you can to try to keep them on your football team. And that's what we'll do. And we'll see how the offseason plays. I just can't predict it as I stand here right now.
I know the charges were dismissed against him, but with Mixon, is there any possibility for disciplinary action related to the
I don't have any update on any of that.
From Tee's perspective, all the smoke outside of the building about his future, what was your reaction to it? What has been your reaction?
I don't, reading smoke signals unless they're electing a pope. I don't really do a lot of smoke signal reading. So I don't have a good answer for that. I know that Tee's a valued member in my mind, and pretty much everybody else's mind that's around us.
If the Burrow extension doesn't happen before the start of the negotiating window on the 13th, how does that maybe impact the buckets that you'll be able to spend? You guys have to have, even if no deal is done, maybe an idea of how much that deal could potentially cost in the cap years for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think we've got an idea of what that deal's going to look like, whether it's done in completion or not, and I don't have predictions on when something might get done. It's of vital importance to us. It's important to Joe, and we'll work to try to get it accomplished. Again, there are some things that we can control, with the first and second year cap numbers. Eventually the dollars have to count, and we want to be responsible in how we count those dollars so we don't get into issues as we go on in the out years. But I just can't predict when it's going to get done, but we're aware of the range that it's going to be.
Is Charlie Pratt someone you anticipate letting test the market?
Well, we don't get to decide whether guys test the market or not. He's a guy that we like. What the number is and how that fits in with the rest of the total picture is something that we're working through right now. But I would assume, normally when guys play well, get to their end of their first contract, they want to see. And we want guys to be able to go out and see. So they're happy if they do come back with the deal that they have with us. And we don't want guys to jump into something and then say, what if? And so, with Jermaine, he's earned the opportunity to go out and see what his market value is. He's an important part of what we do. We like him a lot. He's played really well for us. He's won games for us at times, big games. And so, like all of our players, all 53 players we had, 16 practice squad guys, and even the guys on IR, we have high regard for. That's why they were here with us, and we've got high regard for Jermaine.
With LC's injury happening so late, do you have to work from the assumption he will not be ready for the start of the year?
We'll let the doctors tell us that as the progression goes. We don't want to rule anybody out. We just don't know. And as he gets further in his rehab, we'll get maybe a little better timelines than we currently have right now.
From a procedural / hypothetical, just if you were to part ways with him, would it require an injury settlement, or is that because the injury happened last year that would not?
Well, I mean, from a mechanical standpoint, you know, it's something that, again, we would have to work through, but there's injury protection benefits that players have, and extended injury protection benefits that players have, but those aren't things we're really concerned with right now. We're concerned with whether, you know, he's going to be able to get back and play effectively, and we're concerned with, you know, trying to get him the best care possible to give him the best chance to do.
On the combine side, I know this is one of the deepest tight end drafts in recent memory. You guys haven't shied away from tight ends early in the draft. I know you guys haven't seen anything yet in the combine, but you guys kind of looking forward to seeing that, or any positions that stick out?
Yeah, I mean, we know what they are. The combine doesn't tell us what they are. It might confirm what we think they are, what we already know. But we've looked at these guys on tape. We've evaluated them. We've got ranks on them already. They're on our board. They're already identified, and you know, it's nice to see them come here and do well, and kind of alleviate any doubt you might have that you have them correct. But again, you know, whether we get to it in the draft or not, it'd be dependent on what other teams do and what's left for us. And you know, if there are like players at positions maybe that we feel a little more pinch at, you know, fine. And if they're by far the best player available on the board, you know, fine too. You know, when you pick 28th and at the back of the draft, you got to be flexible. You know, it's you got kind of a wider group of guys that you can consider, and which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
How many Tee Higginses have you seen in this draft class at the wide receivers?
If I see any, I won't tell anybody about it. I know that.
The last three draft classes have yielded a bunch of starters and regulars. Has there, last 3 years, has there been a common theme, a common strand to this, to those classes?
I just think it's great work by our scouts. You know, I think our scouting department is hitting on all cylinders right now. I think they're confident in evaluating exactly what's going to play and play well for the Cincinnati Bengals currently. And I think they know exactly what our coaching staff is looking for. I think they know exactly what Zach's culture is, how to emphasize that. And they've just done a great job of evaluating guys correctly and getting us in the right order. And then, you know, we've had some fortune with guys falling to us that we had high regard for. You know, sometimes we had to trade up, which I hate doing, you know, but, you know, when you feel the need and you know that there's a guy there that you have high regard for, you go ahead and do that.
Duke, you've been involved in the negotiating process for a couple quarterbacks that have kind of been franchise guys. What's it like this time around, and kind of maybe how the previous experiences shaped how you guys go through a process, or is this completely unique?
Well, the numbers are higher. The numbers keep going up, and the process is pretty similar. You know, when you have an elite player like Joe, you know, you kind of know the universe you're going to be living in, and then it's just a matter of maybe getting the structure to where everybody feels good about it. But you know, other than the numbers being a lot higher, it's a similar process that we're going through.
Along those same lines, Duke, how does that affect everything else you need to do in terms of roster building, in terms of evaluating the free agency market? Or is it in an island? Is it in its own bubble?
I mean, roster building is cyclical. We're heading into a phase of our roster building that's going to be more focused internally than externally. It doesn't mean we won't be looking for opportunities externally, but we won't be trying to build our team from the external UFAs. We're going to be trying to maintain our team from the guys that have proven that they belong and can effectively win for the Cincinnati Bengals. And so while we always will look at free agency, it might be a little bit different mindset.
Do you feel like you need a little more juice in the pass rush?
You always feel like you need a little more juice in the pass rush. There's 32 teams that would like some more juice in the pass rush.
Did you feel like it was missing a little bit last year?
I think we have guys that can rush the passer. I think we have a very effective defensive style, and I think we can get after them when we need to. And I think we're very sound against the run, and we put ourselves in pretty good position to make plays when it counts versus the pass. And so, yeah, you're always looking for pass rushers. Yeah, you're always looking for offensive tackles. Yeah, corners. Yeah, give me some of those. You know, you're always looking for guys. You know, give me a defensive tackle. Give me a Geno Atkins in the 4th round. Yeah, I'll take one of those too. You know, you're always looking for a rush.
You said you use comparative. You said
Yeah.
you use comparative tools. Who would you compare Joe Burrow to?
I'd compare Joe Burrow to Joe Burrow. When you get to that level, people start using you as the comparative and no longer comparing you to other people. So